Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today is what is it?
It's Warlock Wednesday.
Warlock Wednesday.
Woo! We love Warlock Wednesday in this
Oh yeah,
establishment.
yes. All right, what are we doing today? Today we are covering the Eldritch Invocation. What's this one called? Master of Myriad Forms.
Indeed, it has a lot of the right words and some unfortunate other words that make it a little bit less interesting or exciting. So this guy
Doesn't
is
have many words.
That's true. Half of them are great and half of them aren't. So Master of Myriad Forms says prerequisite 15th level. Those are the words I don't like. Those are the words where I'm
Oh,
like, oh, yeah, this is now
I
kind of
was
unusable.
excited. I didn't even see that, but
Yeah.
yes,
See, there
that's
aren't
a
many
big
words,
one.
but you still skipped half of them. So
Yeah, I sure
uh,
did.
it says you can cast Alter Self at will without expending a spell slot. And if this were lower level or first level, I'd be like, yeah, okay, Alter Self can see some use. At 15th level? No.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
I was really excited about this. This thing, like, because last time we did what's the other one? Mask of Many Faces. And it's like, oh, that, but even better. Why would anyone take that? Ah, this is why.
Yeah, there are more reasons as to why you wouldn't want to take this. One of them is it takes concentration for Alter Self. So
Yeah,
Alter Self, like, doesn't necessarily go hand in hand with a lot of specific Warlock builds. By 15th level, most Warlock builds have, like, decidedly found the concentration slot that they want to be using for it, or what spell is filling their concentration slot. So, like, they'll have the Summon Fiend out, or they'll have a Hex up for 8 hours. So they'll have, one of many different effects pervasively going on that makes having a at-will concentration effect a little bit worse, especially if you're drawing for long-duration concentration effects. In the context of you're not concentrating on something, you're in out-of-combat exploration, I guess my immediate question is how good is Alter Self, right? And
yeah,
the answer is it's not very good. We've talked about Alter Self already, and it's like, no, not really anything powerful
I
happening here.
think it's okay for certain situations, but yeah, not necessarily 15th level situations.
Yeah.
And as far I want to go back a bit. You're talking about using the concentration and all that. I mean, yes, that's true. However, this is at will. You can use it between those times where you're using concentration, or if your concentration gets broken and you need an alter self.
In combat for some
Yeah.
reason. I would say this would be a really cool build direction if it were a second level option, right? If you got this when you got Eldritch Invocation and you can make your character be the Alter Self character, where like you want to play the werewolf warlock, this would let your natural weapons actually potentially be something you would want to build around, right? Now they don't really work with Thirsting Blade or anything like that. You don't get the extra tech with them, so it's still hard to make that build come together. But it would be a fun direction to at least consider. I could conceive a lot of low tier characters using this as their mediocre, like not good still, pretty bad combat prowess at the first couple levels, but in those first couple levels, it'll work well enough at least. By 15th level, like natural weapons are a joke. You're not pulling out unarmed strikes for a d6 plus 1 damage, right? Like that's just not happening. You don't
Yeah,
even get
I
extra
mean,
tech with it.
I keep forgetting that that's even part of alter self. They got the water breathing stuff and the natural weapons. Alter self to me is like upgraded um disguise self, and then there's some random crap thrown in on top of it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to think about it. I wouldn't even necessarily think of it as an upgrade. I think it's kind of a side grade because it does some things Alter Self can't, in that it does some things that Disguise Self can't, right? Because it's physical changes to you.
Right.
You physically look different. At the same time, it doesn't change like your equipment. It doesn't change what you're wearing. It doesn't change the things outside of your form. So you can become like
Yeah.
a gnome, or you can, if you're a halfling, you can become like a similar size genasi if you wanted to switch around to be something wildly different. You have all those options at your disposal. Kind of like you like pick and choose whatever race you want to look like. That's great. And you will physically like people will feel you and see you as this race. There's
Right.
all interactions, everything works, no illusions, but you don't have like the raw power that comes with I want to look like a prince with all the bells and whistles, and I'm going to be very careful where I'm moving, but I will have that illusory appearance. So like
All right.
there are
Side grade, that's fair.
yeah, and it's for some reason stapled at 15th level prerequisite, which I don't love. Like
No.
I don't think I ever want both Master of Many Myriad Forms and a Mask of Many Faces on my sheet, right? Like I don't want those two
Oh no.
effects because they do the same enough thing, right? So like, is there a character that puts this on their character sheet? Is my my next question, like what kind of character would really want this?
I think if the campaign or mission like demands something like this, when it as it becomes available right then and there, then that's the one time.
So like you're going in an underwater mission that also requires you have disguise self. And you're like, that on level
Not
up.
underwater. You're 15th level. Somebody in the party has water breathing.
I was about to say, or like even gifted depth is another option that's a 5th level prerequisite that gives you water breathing if you absolutely need that.
Again,
right?
I am not talking about the random fluff thrown in. I'm just talking about changing forms.
Sure. We're just talking about change appearance here.
I mean, we can talk about the other stuff too if you want, but
sure.
When you ask me this question, that is the only thing I'm taking into consideration.
Okay, that makes sense. I think I agree. I don't think there are any 15th level plus characters that care at all about aquatic adaptation or natural weapons at this stage. Like we're so far past either of those being even considerations that we can just look at change appearance. So like what characters then upon reaching 15th level, maybe this is a character that you finished out the invocations you want for your blade build. So you've gotten your thirsting blade, you've gotten your the on hit charisma damage one. Maybe you even took the hex one that you liked so much that it's like, yeah, sure, you do an area effect charisma damage, whatever. The hex empowerment thing, maddening hex. That's the one. Then maybe this is like, okay, we're 15th level and I want disguise self finally because we've been doing a lot of intrigue and I feel like I have been lacking there. Maybe you take this. I'm
just saying, like, there's a specific part of a mission and you just leveled up and alter self would be very helpful to you right now in this instance.
And specifically more so than disguise self.
Yeah.
Which is where I'm does that happen?
You will be making love to
sure.
Whoever you're trying to fool.
There's some noble that you're like, all right, in order for this to work, we need a full seduction plan. You need to stay the night in their chambers and skimp out on them to make them hate this one individual that you're going to be pretending to be, alongside stealing a bunch of their stuff. And they have to be like capital E evil to make this feel a lot less skeevy. But maybe that's a thing that happens.
All right. Let's back up a second. You're going to be touched somehow.
Yeah, that's a relevant element of it. And I agree that your scenario is one of the more common possibilities. It's just like, how do we get there, right? And like, how many encounters like that are getting run? Is that you're going to be touched somehow through an alter self.
You're entering a wrestling competition.
Come with me on this magical TSA. You're like, you're going to, and I truthfully would love to see like a post 9/11 world of magic circles where like someone brought a bomb through a circle of teleportation and now there's a TSA at every single circle of teleportation that they set up that has like you get patted down and all that stuff. You have to wait in line. You're like, all right, when are they setting up the runes to go where we're going? All right, you're sitting in your chairs or whatever. Have a nice little airport scene. And this gets through the airport scene.
All right.
That's the use case, right?
I'm sure. I think we've come up with some justification for this for this invocation.
Agreed. Probably less so than wrestling match. I think wrestling match probably does happen more, but yeah. I'm down on alter self. I've been down on alter self for a while. I don't think it does enough to justify it being more expensive than disguise self, and disguise self happens earlier. So like I feel like if a character would really want this, they probably already have Mask of Many Faces. I'm not even that high on Mask of Many Faces, which leaves like what this leaves you with is somehow you level up knowing you're going into a circumstance that you would want this, and then you would also want it after that point, right? Like, so you do want to, like, if you're taking invocation, kind of have uses for it beyond the single one nude wrestling match that you're forced to partake in the Olympic Games, right? Like, there's going to need to be something beyond that exact example for this to be useful. I just don't see that ever happening. I feel like we've been fishing for
maybe
utterly lunacy.
You did really well in the match, and this has become your career now. But you can't go back to your old form because then everybody will know.
So you just become a professional wrestler in the D&D universe. You retire from adventuring and just alter self yourself all the time, which notably, alter self is concentration. So if you're taking damage during that wrestling match, sometimes it just stops. And that's an issue. I think we've been hyping it up a lot in terms of just like random nonsense you can do.
I don't think we've been hyping it at all.
I think this is worse than we're even joking about. I think this is like close to one territory as far as unusable trash. I just don't think Alter Self is good enough for the prerequisite condition that like no character is regularly actually going to put this in the character sheet, right? Like this isn't offensively bad. It's still an effect you can use technically. It's just so much worse than an already relatively mediocre one that I'm like, yeah, I don't think I ever want this.
Yeah, I can't fathom, giving a low rating to something that's letting you cast a spell at will, but 15th level to cast a 2nd level spell. That hurts me.
I guess a bad 2nd level spell.
Yeah.
I guess an overcosted 2nd level spell. I think this probably still deserves a 2. It still, like you said, is an at-will spell. So there will be some characters, like maybe you're like starting in the mid tiers and you're now reaching the aquatic setting and you're playing with specifically a barbarian, monk, fighter, and rogue, none of which have access to water breathing. But they're all aquatic races as well, so they can all already breathe underwater. And then you take Alter Self as like, okay, there's a lot of different things on that specific character sheet. If this were prerequisite nothing, if this was just a thing you could take, I would be like, it's probably not better than Mask of Many Faces, but it's a side grade. It deserves a 3, but it's worse because you can't do anything with it until 15th level. And by that point, you don't need to do anything with it. So, like, yeah, I think 2 is generous. I think it's probably where it deserves to be.
Yeah, I don't want to give it a 1. So I'll agree with your 2. Some people will have fun with it.
It could
But
possibly
not
be that
necessarily
bad.
more fun than they would have had with Mask of Many Faces.
14 levels earlier, or 13 levels earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, generous 2. That was Master of Myriad Forms. Another beautiful title for a crap invocation.
How do you be happy with like prerequisite 5th level? Like, just give me any time to let this be usable, right? Just any at all. 15th is so late for such garbage.
Yeah, 5th sounds fair, actually. I mean, what were they thinking? 15th level. What was the power they were seeing? Like that we're missing.
There's a levitate at will that comes at 9th level, and that's definitely better than this, right?
All right. Well, let us know what you think down in the comments. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Sam. And well, that was Warlock Wednesday. We'll see you for something else next time. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it, a gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.